What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? I routinely have cheated. My wife has no idea. But that's the only way I can beat her at rummy. She is just that good at cards. Well, that took a wholesome turn. More seriously, I worked at a giant company as a picker. I discovered that through an easy exploit. I could pick 2-3 items an hour and still hit curve. Because everyone there is an idiot. They never questioned it and I was eventually promoted. The position after that had me training hundreds of people in the warehouses. I discovered that my predecessor did cheat all and didn't do paperwork for anyone. I made the mistake of telling my boss, so the job of fixing 7 years of missing paperwork fell on me. Discovering it was a project destined to fail and hating the company, I made up hundreds of fake paperwork and filed them, entered them into the system. Again. Because where I worked everyone is an idiot. No one noticed for the 3 years I worked at the company, despite much of it not making any sense. Some of the names assigned, duck you, I hate this place. I got further promotions for my productivity and did the same thing across multiple facilities. By my estimate, roughly 30-40% of the company's Canadian records are obvious BS. Yet I was never fired or found out. I made about 50 grand filming porn. Paid for college and haven't gone back to it. Would almost consider it as a fallback. But if it got out it would royally duck up my current career. Thankfully this was from a day and age when pseudonyms actually kept people anonymous. I think it's ducked up how everyone loves to watch porn but will fire someone for being unprofessional when they found out they did it in the past. I paid off my student loans writing smut, and I mean real smut. Kinky. Fetishy. No plot stroker books. I loved every last second of it. Then I switched to writing mostly wholesome romances under a new pen name. I doubt very much that my readers would enjoy the crossover. Although who knows? I cheated on a spelling test in grade 4 of primary school. And was awarded the grade's best speller award at the end of year assembly. That's just being a student right there. Cheating is what got a lot of people I know through their Spanish classes. I sent in the form for one of those 90s CD subscription things where you get 5 free but have to pay so much a month after that. I purposely spelled my last name wrong so when the bill came and my mom freaked out I could say, "Mom, this bill isn't for Jane Doe. It's for Jane Doe." Totally got away with my scam and my uncensored copy of Eminem. My parents put our name in the phone book spelled incorrectly. So when telemarketers called they could say nobody lives here under that name without lying. Lol. Maybe wouldn't ruin my life in the traditional sense. I was abused for years by my mum's favorite cousin. I have to see him for every family event, and even though I'm in my 20s, being in his presence, let alone him touching me, makes me feel for all over again. If it came out, I am pretty sure my family would take his side. I created the very first maffic for StarCraft, Brood War, and released it within hours of the game's release. It turns out the game was functionality identical to the original game with new assets. On a hunch, I found that I could just hex edit an existing Chinese maffic for the original game and internally replace StarCraft's executable name with Brood Wars. And it worked. I used a resource editor to completely change the UI and make it look original. I didn't code anything. To advertise, I flooded every Battle.net channel with bots, each using name variations of I's and L's, which looked identical at the time. A dozen bots per channel. Joining, posting, and leaving within a split second. No one, including the admins, could ban me. And if they managed to catch one, the others would continue. At the peak I was flooding every channel at 10 posts a second, making chat impossible. This was from a dial-up connection, so I eventually needed my phone and had to stop after a few solid days of shutting down Battle.net chat. Blizzard changed Battle.net's font because of me, and added text commands for channel control instead of mouse-only click control. Sales of my children's book would plummet if the porn novels I've written, under a pen name, ever got connected back to me. I signed up for DisneyChannel.com before I turned 18 without my parents' permission. I have no clue what I'm doing and am anxious 99% of the time. I abhor my wife's cooking. I eat it and tell her how good she did, but often it turns my stomach. Edit. I have gotten a lot of repeated comments, so let me clear some things up. I went to culinary school. I do most of the cooking. She knows her cooking is terrible, because she eats it also. When she tastes she messed up, and I finish mine and tell her I liked it. She gets all anime-eyed, and I get sexy time. I'm not looking to fix the situation. If I told her it was terrible, it would ruin my life. Doesn't mean she thinks it's perfect. I was bored and drunk, so I peed in my own mouth to see what it was like. I am friends with a gay couple and one day his husband told me that he sells videos of him coming in his own mouth on Tumblr. I know this isn't really the same thing, but I just wanted to tell someone because he made me promise not to lol. In 3rd grade, I cheated on my history exam. In 4th grade, I stole my Uncle Max's toupee and I glued it on my face when I was Moses in my Hebrew school play. 5th grade, I knocked my sister Edie down the stairs and I blamed it on the dog. When my mom sent me to the summer camp for fat kids and then they served lunch, I got nuts and I pigged out and they kicked me out. But the worst thing I ever done, I mixed a pot of fake puke at home and then I went to this movie theater, hid the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony and then I made a noise like this, hooah 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 hooah, and then I dumped it over the side, all over the people in the audience. And then, this was horrible. All the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life. I planned and executed the perfect heist. I got a job at my local bank and every week they would give me money, and after giving a cut to Her Majesty I got to pocket the rest. I did this for 40 years. Then one day I handed in some paper and I just walked out the front door. They still don't know what hit them. I've just been kicked out of uni, not for academic reasons but because my mother attempted to heal herself and my mental health got rock bottomed as a result. I currently live with my old man who has told me a number of times the only reason he can bear having me around is that I am studying, and he sympathizes with how hard it is to study and work. I'm kinda terrified to tell anyone as a result because becoming homeless is a rather scary prospect. Update. I just wanna say a big thank you to everyone who has messaged or replied to this. You've helped a lot in making me not feel so alone on this and in getting me to mobilize a plan to appeal being kicked out. We'll update this again if you would like to know the result after the appeal. Update. I finally heard back today and after a pretty lengthy back and forth they've decided to allow me to continue to study. I hate 60% of the people in my life. Some days, the masquerade isn't as blatant, or I just act all sarcastic with it. So whenever old friends message me, oh it's been so long since we've met, part of me is like, yay. I know. That's the plan. But I love a good 20% though. Those I would do almost anything for. Eater. Holy cow. Never expected this comment to get replies. The remaining 20% are people I'm completely indifferent to. A mixture of how they're cool but they hang out with trashy people. Or generally people I work with but don't go beyond anything further than that. Helps that I suck with names and remembering people too. But they don't fall into either category. Okay. I posted it because staying in a dorm, the amount of gossip is insane. So, there's a good chunk of people I cannot stand. At all. I also felt this sense of I love so many people but God, I cannot stand even more people. So glad it's normal. I no longer believe in my religion and my family and extended family are insanely integrated into it to the point that I would be shunned and disowned for following anti-lies and leaving the church. My browser history and chat logs, if those came out, I'd no joke be dead. I got busted by browser history once about 15 years ago. Wife saw a website URL and thought I was looking to expand the family. She saw porn that shocked her system so badly I'd probably get slapped today if I brought it up. I feel like views on porn are something that people really need to discuss before getting intimate, physically or otherwise.